frontiers of modern science.
45 headed north Cypress Wood. Several right lanes blocked off as they clean up a car fire involved in an accident. Also westland near San Felipe reports of an accident. Weather sponsored by Stewart PC Attorneys for Executives.com. Upper 70s for the high today. Tonight's low in the mid 60s. Going to stay in the upper 70s, low 80s all week. We're at 71 right now here at the University of Houston. Streaming live online at HoustonPublicMedia.org. It's KUHF Houston News 88.7. Service at the University of Houston. I'll dig it tomorrow morning. It's 10 o'clock.
It was a musty old Bible discovered in a small-town library, but it was also the start of a mystery. How that tale unwound and much more today on the Texas Standard.
Texas Standard is a production of KUT Austin, KERA North Texas, Houston Public Media, and Texas Public Radio in San Antonio, with support from CASA, court-appointed special advocates, making a difference for children in foster care.
I'm David Brown. During this holiday season, we've been listening back to some of the most compelling reporting by our in-house journalists here at the Texas Standard and a team of public media reporters statewide known as the Texas Newsroom. From an effort to help more adults complete a high school education to a mystery Bible in Bernie, the long-awaited launch of a new college football team in the Rio Grande Valley, and much more, you're in for a treat on this special edition of the Texas Standard, and it all gets underway right after this.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Winter Johnston. President Trump's plans for Greenland are back in the news after he appointed a special envoy on the issue. NPR's Michelle Kellerman reports Denmark and Greenland are making it clear they won't allow the U.S. to take over the territory.
The leaders of Denmark and Greenland issued a joint statement demanding respect for their territory after Trump announced that he's appointing Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry to be his special envoy. Landry posted on X that he's honored to take up what he called a voluntary position to, quote, make Greenland a part of the U.S. Denmark and Greenland call this totally unacceptable, saying national borders are rooted in international law. Greenland belongs to Greenlanders, the statement went on to say. Polls there show that while most Greenlanders want independence from Denmark, an overwhelming majority reject the idea of joining the U.S. Michelle Kellerman, NPR News, the State Department.
China is criticizing the U.S. seizure of Venezuelan ships. It says doing so is a violation of international law. NPR's Emily Fang reports the statement came after the U.S. announced it was pursuing the seizure of a third Venezuelan oil tanker.
The U.S. seized a second oil tanker just over the weekend, and Reuters, citing documents, reports the ship and its oil had been bound for China. China opposes all, quote, unilateral and illegal sanctions, China's foreign ministry said. It also said Venezuela has, quote, the right to develop relations with other countries. Venezuela has slammed the U.S. seizures as outright piracy. China buys about 80% of Venezuela's oil now, some of it shipped on unregistered boats to evade U.S. sanctions. But for China, that's just a figurative drop in the bucket. About 4% of its total crude oil imports come from Venezuela. Emily Fang, NPR News.
A segment promoted to run on CBS's 60 Minutes was pulled before it was set to air last night. The report focused on allegations of abuse at a prison in El Salvador, where the Trump administration has sent hundreds of Venezuelan migrants this year. NPR's David Folkenflik reports the network's new editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, said the story wasn't ready.
She argued that CBS News, and particularly 60 Minutes, kind of more storied television news magazine of all time, needed to advance the ball beyond what had been reported in the New York Times and elsewhere earlier this fall, and that they needed to be having senior administration officials on the record, on camera, in order to do that, to make it a story worthy of broadcast. She said, you know, if a story's not ripe, I'm not going to put it on the air, even if it's already been promoted. That's
NPR's David Folkenflik reporting. Stocks are trading higher on Wall Street at this hour. The Dow is up 186 points, the Nasdaq up 107, the S&P up 31. This is NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. Some Houstonians will have another off-year election for a vacant city council seat in 2026. It'll appear on the ballot 1 month after the March primaries. News 88.7's Dominic Anthony Walsh has more.
District C City Council member Abby Kamen is stepping down to run for Harris County Attorney. The seat represents the Greater Heights, Montrose, and a slice of the Museum District. The filing deadline for candidates is February 2nd, and the election is April 4th, a Saturday. The race comes on the heels of another special election to fill a city council seat. The at-large position left vacant by Letitia Plummer. Alejandra Salinas won that position earlier this month and will join the city council in January. All city positions will be on the ballot again in 2027. I'm Dominic Anthony Walsh, News 88.7.
Late last week, Governor Greg Abbott gave his endorsement to Houston Firefighters Union leader Marty Langton to be the next Harris County judge. Abbott joins local business mogul Jim Mackingale, also known as Mattress Mac, in an endorsement. Abbott says that Langton has, quote, earned a reputation for putting principle before politics and people before power. Governor Abbott says he would devote roughly $25 million towards the GOP candidates in Harris County. When Abbott announced his own re-election campaign in Houston earlier this year, he promised to turn the county, quote, dark red. Both the governor's race and the Harris County judge race will be next year. In sports, the Texans squeak out a victory over the hapless Las Vegas Raiders 23-10 at NRG Stadium on Sunday. Texans are 10-5, and they're on their longest winning streak since a 9-game run in 2018. Checking your weather, patchy fog giving way to mostly cloudy skies today, a high of 79. It'll be cloudy with fog returning later tonight and a low of 66. Right now, 71 degrees and overcast on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Imaginable Futures, envisioning a future where learning sparks opportunity and thriving belongs to everyone. Learn more at imaginablefutures.com. And the listeners who support this NPR station.
No matter where you are, it's Texas Standard Time on this 22nd day of December 2025. I'm David Brown, and as the Christmas rush kicks into overdrive, we're taking advantage of the season to look back at the year through the lens of some of the best original reporting from our own team of reporters and producers here at the Texas Standard, and from our reporting partners statewide, collectively known as the Texas Newsroom. Now, these may not be the top stories of the year, but they're certainly great examples of a standard of reporting that brings in the voices and the stories of Texas that you won't hear elsewhere, stories you might have missed out on in 2025. We begin with a story from 2025's high school graduation season, a special milestone that, well, far too many Texans miss out on. In fact, Texas ranks 49th in the nation when it comes to the percentage of adults with a high school diploma. For those who want to go back to school, adult learning programs are an option, but there are often barriers that prevent people from achieving that goal. But as the Texas Standard's Sarah Ash discovered, a nonprofit in Texarkana may have found a solution.
Logan Garza arrived in Texarkana in early 2022 when she was transferred to the Bowie County Women's Center. The center helps people completing court-mandated rehab, and Garza was moved there because after she started a jail sentence in another part of the state, she discovered she was pregnant. Garza says realizing she was going to be a mom was a wake-up call.
I had a really bad lifestyle. I was just in and out of jail all the time. Whenever I found out I was pregnant with my first one, and that's whenever everything kind of like clicked in place for me, where I was like, I really have to get my life together. You know, it's like do or die now.
Garza first went to juvenile detention at age 12, and she never finished high school. She knew the first step to getting back on track was to get her GED, which she did while she was at the Women's Center. But as her release date and her due date loomed, she didn't have anywhere to go. As it turns out, Garza arrived in Texarkana at an opportune moment. Local organizations that provide social services had just started working together in a new way to help people like Garza who might otherwise fall through the cracks. This new system is called the 100 Families Program, and it started in Texarkana in 2022 under the leadership of staff at the Literacy Council of Bowie and Miller counties. The program originated in Arkansas, and the name comes from the idea that if you can help even just 100 families in a community, it makes a difference. Jenny McCormick Walker, who was the executive director of the Literacy Council at the time, brought this program to Texarkana to address a problem that at first glance might seem unrelated to Garza's need for housing. Walker wanted to help ensure the Literacy Council's adult education students would come to class.
The reason that they were not coming consistently had nothing to do with their motivation or their ability to be successful. It was all about life.
Texarkana straddles the border between Texas and Arkansas. Of all the adults in Bowie County on the Texas side and Miller County on the Arkansas side, a combined 25% read at or below a first grade level.
How can
Okay, so let's go back.
So we had on the bottom right here. So
Okay, let's review this word right here. Let's see what we have.
How
has. Okay, so let's review this right here.
And while that number might sound high, Texarkana is only a few points higher than the national average. About 22% of American adults read at a level 1 or below. In Texas, it's 28%. People with this level of literacy struggle with things like filling out forms at the doctor, reading the questions on the driver's license written exam, or understanding ingredients on food packaging. The Literacy Council
outside areas were definitely impacting their ability to be successful. And one thing that I have said all along is that when life is hard, learning is hard.
Walker went looking for a way to help adult learners address their needs beyond education, from food insecurity to homelessness to a lack of transportation. That's when she found 100 Families. The program was working in a few counties in Arkansas, but it had not yet reached beyond state borders, and it was not designed to focus on literacy. The idea is simple. 100 Families centralizes communication between organizations that help people get on their feet.
We no longer in our separate places have to feel like we have to be the expert in all things. We get to each focus individually on what our specialty is, but know that we have the right people in the community to lean on.
That's Christina Rivas. She runs the nonprofit that now oversees the 100 Families program in Texarkana. Basically, organizations share a database where they can access case files and other client information as well as make referrals. So if someone comes into the Literacy Council for tutoring and staff realize they don't have enough to eat, for example,
we can give them a warm handoff to the next agency so that we're not just handing them a list of phone numbers that is overwhelming and then they have to tell their story 1,000 times.
This not having to repeat their life story piece is actually a huge part of increasing access and reducing stigma, according to Vishil Fernandez. Fernandez is with the city of Texarkana on the Texas side, and he's also the chair of the Texarkana Homeless Coalition.
Having to go search out all these things when they're already not comfortable, and if they get turned down or get denied at one place, then that completely...
Wait, what?
The software social services organizations are using in Texarkana to communicate more effectively. According According to her data, 25% of clients that came into 100 families throughout Arkansas and on the Texas half of Texarkana arrived to the program without a GED or a high school diploma within the last year. Now, almost half of that group either have their diploma or are working towards it. Phillips says clients who stick with 100 families longer have better educational outcomes, partly because education takes time to attain.
Families do usually stay in the initiative about 8 months, and it takes much longer than that to get a GED or a high school diploma typically. So the fact that we do have the increases that we have are really good.
Another thing to consider is that every student has different goals. Take Michael Sasser, who comes to the Literacy Council in Texarkana twice a week and has been doing so on and off for years.
Now, take a look at this picture.
Sasser has dreams of going to college, but he currently reads at a first grade level and is on what educators at the council call the functional literacy track. That means he is working to improve his reading so he can navigate the world around him more easily. Measuring success with adult education is also complicated because literacy means much more than just improving reading skills. Beth Carlton has been tutoring Sasser at the Literacy Council for several years. She says her teaching includes workforce training like job interview prep and how to write a resume.
Most jobs now are applied for online, so some people don't have internet access at home. Many people are experiencing homelessness. They'll come in and use our computers.
The Literacy Council also has volunteer financial advisors who help people learn how to build their credit score and save money.
None of us can single-handedly solve all of the problems of someone trying to escape generational poverty.
But when these organizations work together, the progress becomes undeniable. Texarkana is the only city in Texas that is using this dashboard model, but that won't be true for much longer. The city of Texarkana spent about $25,000 of its opioid settlement money to fully adapt the model for wider use. As of late May, any other community in Texas can get trained and use the database for a small processing fee. Christina Rivas says her message to people considering starting a 100 Families program in their community is simple.
What do you have to lose? It can't get any worse than it is right now by trying something that's proven. It will change the way you do things internally. It will change your community as a whole over time. And it's just the best thing. It really is.
That community change is reflected in the changes that happen in individual lives. Just look at Logan Garza. She's come a long way since she was released from the Women's Center almost 3 years ago. Now a mother of 3, Garza is on track to finish her associate's degree at Texarkana College in December. She wants to go on and study psychology and then get a master's degree so she can be a counselor and help people who are going through what she's been through. She's even thought about getting a PhD, though she's not sure she'll be able to swing it. But she says just having that dream shows how much has changed in her life. While she completes her associates, Garza has been working at the Literacy Council, tutoring people in GED math. Her favorite part of her job? Seeing people finally understand a concept they've been struggling with.
I used to think that I was so incapable of making anything out of my life. It used to make me so mad when people would tell me, do baby steps. Because I'm like, do you see how messed up my life is right now? Like, you think baby steps is gonna fix this? But like, now that I've done it, I'm like, gosh, why didn't I just listen? Like, this is amazing.
For more information on the 100 Families method for connecting community support programs, you can visit texasstandard.org. While you're there, reach out to us. Share your stories or your questions about adult education and literacy. In Texarkana, I'm Sarah Ash for the Texas Standard.
Sarah's one of our outstanding producer reporters here at the Standard. This hour, we're listening back to some of the year's most memorable reporting by our Texas Standard team and our partners statewide with the Texas Newsroom. Stories like the one about the Texas librarian who discovered a musty old Bible that seemed really unusual. We'll explore the mystery that unwound there. Plus, right now it may feel like the end of the college football season, but for college football fans in one big part of Texas, 2025 brought the potential for the start of something big. That and a whole lot more as this special edition of the Texas Standard continues. And we're coming up on 19 minutes past the hour, Texas Standard Time.
Support for Texas Standard comes from Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a workers' compensation provider committed to rewarding policyholders who keep their workers safe and losses low. More at texasmutual.com/TXM Advantage.
10:19, here's ABC 13 meteorologist Kevin Roth.
It's another warm and humid day in Houston. High temperatures are going to warm things up into the upper 70s, if not low 80s today. Keep in mind our normal highs this time of year in the mid 60s. So we're running 15 degrees above average as far as high temperatures go. And those morning lows are warm as well. This goes all the way through the week. We're talking morning lows in the mid 60s, high temperatures in the low 80s. That continues through Christmas, continues into next weekend. Could get a cold front on Sunday. I'm ABC 13 meteorologist Kevin Roth for News 88.7.
Houston Public Media is a service of the University of Houston and is supported with your gifts to the Houston Public Media Foundation. More information available online at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
You're listening to News 88.7.
Division I collegiate football team, now a member of the Southland Conference. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Vaqueros football team has been in the works for years. As the season was getting underway, the Texas Standard's Kristen Cabrera discovered the challenge wasn't just on the gridiron, but how best to win over new fans.
For the past 3 years, head coach Travis Bush has wanted nothing more than to get his team on the field and start playing some football.
Come on. One go with me, one with him. Coach Schultz, let's go.
I'm excited for the young men that have been here since day one to get to run out of that tunnel and see that packed place. And we've talked about this vision for 2 years.
The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is days away from making history. The first collegiate football game for the area has been in the planning stages for years, the idea stage for about a decade, and the dream stage for as long as anyone in the valley can remember. But for communication major, redshirt junior, and defensive back Marcus M.J. Hurd Jr., it hasn't quite sunk in.
I don't know what to expect. Honestly, we're going to play with 12, 15,000 fans. This game is sold out. Hopefully we're popping fireworks, touchdowns, of course, like that.
You heard that right. Before anyone has even seen the Vaqueros play, the school has sold out all of the team's home games this season. Additional limited student tickets will be offered ahead of each future game, but catching the Vaqueros in action could be tough during their inaugural season. And yet, for many, that's no surprise. At the tip of South Texas, the 5,000 square mile strip of borderland known as the Rio Grande Valley is no stranger to Friday night lights. With football, marching band, cheerleading, tailgates, mums, and of course the fans, all ingrained in Valley culture, it's just like every other place in Texas. You'd often see Cowboys jerseys, Longhorns, Aggies, all out and about during football season. But now it's become commonplace to see one more in the mix. White and orange with a full color V on the top. That's Elisa Gonzalez. She is an alumna of the previous iteration of UTRGV, the University of Texas Pan American. Elisa and her husband Ben own a scrap metal business in Weslaco and a retail business, Vaquero Outfitters, in Edinburgh.
This is a 70-hour job, We're always working. Well, my wife is the one that's, she's working at night, she's working in the morning, she's working on the weekends, but all thanks to the community.
For this business, the Gonzalez's made a bet on Vaquero athletics, licensing the name and logos and pretty much only selling Vaquero merch or gear for games. It's a bet up until recently many would have been hard-pressed to make.